Okay, so let's first start by saying that who you believe you are has a lot more to do with how you navigate yourself in the world. So, who you identify as, who you believe you are, has a lot more to do with the result that you are getting in your business than a lot of other factors, is one of the things I have noticed in my coaching and consulting practice is how we perceive ourselves when it comes to having this sales conversation has a lot to do with our ability to transfer that confidence to the next person. And so, in light of that, today I want to touch on a little bit more about identity. And the conversation about identity is going to be coming from a Christian perspective because this is the Godly Business Podcast, right? So we are going to approach it from a Christian perspective. But I do want to stress the fact that how you view yourself, how you perceive yourself, how you walk in the world, what you identify as, unfortunately, for better or worse, have will impact how you move in the world. So, this subject is really getting into the root cause of many of our issues worldwide, whether that's in your business, your personal life, political landscape, racism, fascism, all the ism, right? A lot of time are based on identity. So, I'm going to start by covering a couple verses that we're going to discuss into showing you how from the beginning how the devil have used this trick, this tool to make us falter and to make us doubt ourselves, doubt who we are, doubt our abilities, doubt our gifts, doubt our strength, doubt our who we truly are, which is children of God. We are sons and daughters of God, right? And so in attacking that and making you question that, then you question everything else that comes with that. So while oftentimes I do speak around the subject of helping you to navigate the sales conversation, I want to go straight into the base of why a lot of times you think you are not able or incapable of doing something because you have come into agreement with an identity that has nothing to do with you. You have come to an agreement with a version that you've accepted from someone else that is not you. So, this is related to business and the fact that you need to understand the root of this false identity that you have accepted as your own. So, we're going to dive right in with a couple Bible verses. And I want you to pay attention to the first word that I'm going to bring about in this conversation. So, in the conversation about identity, I felt like these passages that I'm going to dive into will really get you to understand why it's so dangerous and why it's so crafty and how the devil is such a master at this, right? Because he tried it with Jesus. So let's go right into it. So we're gonna start in Matthew 4, and I think the Bible I'm reading is the NLT version. Right? So it starts in verse 4. We're gonna start at the first verse. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are." I want to pause there. I want to pause there and highlight that. If you are. Automatically, he start with trying to plant a seed of doubt. I want you to understand how the devil works. So once you start your business, once you have that idea, once you want to have that conversation, the devil usually will start with doubt. Do you really think you can do this? Who do you think you are? Do you really think you deserve this price? Who do you think you are? Automatically, the devil start with doubt, and he did it with God, with Jesus. Okay, he start by asking him and making him question who he is, and he says, "If you are the Son of God, tell the stone to become bread." I'm gonna jump around a little bit on this chapter because of what I want to highlight. The next temptation, he said, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down." Right? And again, when he asked God those things, the next thing he says, God responds to him and everything like that. Then he goes on to then try to offer God other things and things like that. So I want you to realize that one of the first thing he tried to do is make Christ doubt who he is. That's where he starts. He starts with making you question who you are, who you think you are, and he does this with Jesus. But this is not the first time that the devil has done this. This is not the first time the devil has done this. Let's go back to the beginning, Genesis. In Genesis, we're going to go to Genesis chapter 3 when the devil tries to I was going to say seduce, but get Eve to eat the fruit, the forbidden fruit. So we're going to start at, let's see, 4. So Genesis 3, starting at verse 4, where it says, "You will not certainly die," the serpent said to the woman, "for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The part of this verse that I want you to highlight is the fact that it says, "and you will be like God." Y'all, Satan is a master manipulator. He's pretty much saying, if you want to be like God, right? Because what he's insinuating is that you're not like God. He's saying that you will become like God when you eat of this fruit. Because God knows from the day for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God. Now, you may be like, well, yeah, that's something that we, the flesh may want, but it's like, let's go back to Genesis 1, right? We're going to go back to Genesis 1, verse 26. We're going to start at verse 26 when it says, "Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness." I'm going to skip around to verse 27. "So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them." So then why does it matter when the devil tells you that you will be like God? I'm already like God. I'm made in his image. So I bring these verses to you because I want you to see how crafty the devil is. And that all of these tactics that he's using now are not new tactics. He's used it on the first men and women from the beginning. He used it on Jesus Christ himself. Okay? And making us doubt who we are. He makes us doubt our abilities. He makes us doubt in our power. He makes us doubt in our gifts. So then we shrink, and he speaks to us in those ways, in those doubtful seeds that he plants in order for us to doubt our ability to get the things that we are purposed to do. So in light of this verses that I just talked about, I want to talk into identity specifically a little bit more. I want you to understand how silly some of the conversations that you have with yourself, some of the conversations that society brings about, how silly and stupid they are. Okay? And I'm bringing this up just so I can reaffirm what God says you are, who God says you are, that you are made in his image, that he gives you strength, right? That every word that he says is true, so that you are able and capable of doing all things through Christ who strengthens you. So that's the point of me starting this conversation around identity. So the first thing I want to discuss, well, one of the things I want to highlight is, hey, I'm back, right? I'm back in Jacksonville, Florida. Um, if you watch my last video, I was in Guadalupe, so now I am back in Florida. And so yeah, multiple conversation that I can bring about, especially in relations to identity specifically, right? If you are an immigrant, like myself, we could say I identify as a Haitian, right? Because I was born and raised in Haiti, then grew up in the States. Granted, I've spent more time in the States than I have in Haiti, to be completely honest with you. But this is where how the devil is crafty in manipulating our view of identity and how stupid his game is. And if you fall for the game, you will always find yourself not being good enough, not being worthy enough, not being this or that. Taking for example, the conversation of me being Haitian, right? I think this is most other immigrant children will probably relate to this, or people who have left their country very young is probably going to relate to this, right? So let's say you left your country when you were a toddler or wherever. Now you grew up in the States. Being here, you are told you are not American, right? Even though you got your citizenship and everything, you're not American. You're Haitian American, or not even that, because my son is technically Haitian American, but I'm Haitian. I'm a Haitian immigrant because I came here, right? So I'm too Haitian to be American because I'm not American. But then when I speak to people who grew up and spent their whole life in Haiti, who are in Haiti, who are more immersed in the culture of Haiti than I am because I've been gone, I'm too American to be Haitian, right? So then you have those first generation Haitian Americans, right? Where again, the same thing. It's like you are not Haitian in you too far removed from the Haitian culture to be Haitian, but you have too many of the Haitian culture to be considered American. And this is one example. And you see this so much, and especially in our political landscape with all the divide and the discussion around immigration and everything going on. I want you to understand that identity is one of the first ways that the devil used to separate us, to break us up apart, to minimize us, and to make us fight against each other. I'm not going to get into the political landscape, but I want you to see the weapons that the devil is using. It's the same old weapon that he used in the beginning. He makes you focus on your identity, on adopting and accepting and trying to fit into an identity that was never yours to begin with. Funny story. I'm pregnant. I go into, you know, looking for an OB, and I'm filling out the paperwork. And one of the paperwork, it says, "What is your race?" And I put human. And when the lady got the paperwork, she just started laughing, like rolling laughing. And she was like, you know what? That is actually the correct answer is human. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because I this may sound weird to some, but it will make sense to many others. I was never black until I came to the United States. I was never Haitian until I came to the United States. Now, this may sound weird, but think about it for a second. I remember when President Barack Obama became president, right? There was, and I was in college at the time, and I remember so many people crying and just being so overjoyed that they finally got our first black president. So I was walking around campus, and someone came to me and is like, and they were like, "How does it feel to have witnessed your first black president?" And I said, "That's not my first black president." And they looked at me weird. I said, "I'm Haitian. All my presidents have been black, right?" When I came to the United States, when you're filling out any type of paperwork, I don't care what it is, one of the things they ask you is your ethnicity. They put race, but what they're asking you is your ethnicity, right? They ask you if you're black, Hispanic, which Hispanic is not an ethnicity, but that's not Latino, they would put sometimes, which is not an ethnicity, but that's neither here or there, right? So they would ask you, what is your ethnicity? And I'm like, why is this relevant to the question? Before you get into all the political reasons and all the, you know, policies and blah, 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 I want you to realize what I want you to really ask, why is this relevant? Because again, I was never black or Haitian until I came to the United States. Because when you're thinking about it, I'm black compared to who? In Haiti. Black compared to who? Everybody else is black. I'm Haitian compared to who? Everybody else Haitian. You know what I mean? So when you come here, the United States have a great way of making you feel like you don't belong. And the system reinforces that, right? And we could blame the United States, but it is not the United States. You will go to other places and you will feel like you don't belong, right? For one, and they will find another reason why you don't belong. Perfect example. In the United States, I'm Haitian American, right? I leave the United States, I go to Mexico, Canada, wherever. I'm American. Not even black American. I'm American. Period. You go to Europe, you're an American. They may qualify you as a black American, but they're not gonna split the hair on I'm a Haitian black American. No, you're American. You're black. You're a black American, right? So whereas here we're gonna say, no, I'm Haitian American, I'm not African American, well, I'm black American, well, all of those differences to try to divide the divide us into even smaller niches to say who you are and all of those things. And it's like, why is this important? Because if I can define who you are and I set the boundaries and say, hey, because you're this, you can only be in this box. And if you go outside of this box, therefore you are not this. I want you guys to reject. I pray that God will reveal to you how sucked into the matrix that we are and how much the devil is so crafty. And as hard as it is, I pray that you are able to see those things and reject them. Even within our own community, where it's like you're not black enough if you don't do these certain things. You're not black enough if you don't do these certain things. You're not Haitian enough if you don't do these certain things. You're not American enough if you don't do these certain things. You're not from the South enough if you don't do these certain things. And every single day and at every layer, we try to tell each other who we are, what we're not, and what you should be. And those are also then go back and be reflected in how we move around in our businesses. I've shared this story before of coaching a young woman who had a hair, she was selling stuff for hair, right? And she's a black Puerto Rican, right? And she was saying, even though her product was good and great and could work for people with straighter hair, which tends to be Caucasian people with white skin, right? She said that she does not want to sell her products to that demographic. And of course, as a sell coach, my thing is, are we trying to get money or what? You know what I mean? And we had to have a deep, long conversation around the fact that why are you limiting your product if you're trying to grow, if you're trying to push your market out? Why are you trying to limit your product only to a certain group of people? And I get it with the history of this country, that a lot of the things we were excluded from, we are still excluded from, right? And a lot of us have tried to start our own thing in order for us to also exclude. Please, please, please. I'm having this conversation more specifically with Christians. Do not fall for the devil's trick. As I read to you guys in Genesis, he is a master at manipulating. He is a master at tricking. He is a master of making you feel that you are not good enough. You don't deserve this. This is my group. This is my section. This is my this. And then we are so divided that we can't see beyond like anything. And so this conversation does sound like a rant. It is a sort of a rant, right? But I want you to understand that your identity, especially as a Christian, this is a Godly Business podcast. This is a Christian focused podcast to help business owners grow in their business, to use strategy, godly, biblical standards to grow their business. This is what this is. So my standard for you to grow your business are going to be based on godly principles. You excluding a race, a group of people is you discriminating, right? And baby, guess what? They may not like you. They still want your green. They still want you to spend in their facility. They still want you to spend your money in their facility. They may not like it. They may not like you. Like we've seen this so many times over and over and over again with the American history, especially with African American, where they exclude you from their thing, realize how much money you bought to that organization, and then want you to come back. Hence the Target whole fiasco thing that recently happened, right? You boycott, they realize, oh snap, there's a lot of money in the Black community that they bring in. Let's reopen our door, right? So they don't care. They don't really care, right? Even though they don't care about you, they still want your green. So while we are trying and conversation are being had like, hey, why don't we put together and open our own Target and open our own Walmart and do all of those things, I want you to think about the fact that, yes, do those things, but do them in order for us to open the market and build a business, not a retaliation against something, and not put ourselves in a position for us to build and grow because we want to exclude this person or this person. From strictly a business perspective, it makes no sense, right? Not even looking at it from a Christian perspective that it's not okay. Just from a business perspective, it makes no sense. You can be black, polka dot, yellow, blue. If I'm selling this and you want to purchase it, I'm selling it to you. Period. You are in business to make a profit. If you're not in business to make a profit, start a club. Start a different thing. You have a hobby or a club. But if you call it a business, you are to make profit. And while you may cater, yes, to a certain demographic, if other people want to purchase your product, you shouldn't make it so hard for them to purchase the product, because at the end of the day, money talks, and money opens doors, and money gives opportunity. Because yes, if we did own Target, and we or something like Target, right? And we had the places to go to invest and bring our people back, just like before the whole civil rights thing, right? A lot of our businesses thrive because we couldn't go to the Targets, we couldn't go to the Walmarts, we couldn't go to the white only places, so we had no choice but to help and grow our own businesses. We had no choice but to support each other because that's all we had was each other. So while I understand and I get it, we should probably start our own stuff. But baby, if the money's coming from the Chinese, welcome. If the money is coming from a KKK, welcome. You're going to use that money to reinvest it to grow our people. I don't understand it. And I don't understand how we could be so blind and so emotional and let the devil use us emotionally so much around this whole identity situation to make us lose focus on what our bigger calling is. We cannot be this gullible. I hope not. This is a trick, you guys. This is a trick. Do not fall for it. Know who you are. You are made in the image of God. And yes, the devil will create that doubt that you don't deserve to be in that room, that you don't deserve to have this conversation, that you don't deserve to sit at the table. And for that young lady who went on TikTok and had this conversation as why she doesn't want a black manager and she would prefer to have a white older male be the manager, I want you to seriously slow down. Before we make those type of contents, I want you to seriously slow down and think about what it is that you are saying and what it is that you are pushing, what narrative it is that you are pushing out there. Because I bet you I could be wrong, but a lot of the people who agree could be the same people that are having conversation on how they are passed up for opportunities to grow because of their skin color. And yet you are putting a narrative like that out there saying that you don't want a black supervisor. I wasn't going to get into that, but I just had to say it. Think about that. I'm sorry, but that is stupid. I'm not calling the person stupid, but I'm saying that conversation, that idea, that narrative is stupid. Please don't say things like that, especially if you have a huge platform of enough people that are going to see it. And now you're giving the devil more fuel. You're giving people who have a certain mindset, right, more fuel to say, hey, this is the reason why we don't want people of color to advance, because even they say this and that. I want us to start having conversation about building, growing around what we want, what we would like to see for ourselves. And I want us to start having conversation around, you know what, I would like for my family, Annie's family, to be such and such and such. Not, I want to be around so that my black family, my black this, because remember, the moment you put your identity, those labels, your blackness, your Haitianness, your this, you are making that an idol before God. Period. Anything that comes before God is an idol. That includes your nationality, that includes your skin color. You can be mad at me. It is biblical. Don't shoot the messenger. Go talk to God about it. I ain't got nothing to do with it. That's what he said. Okay? So I'm bringing this up, and I'm going to wrap up this rent session as to understanding why identity, that you need to redefine and look at your identity from the lens of God, not from the lens of what the devil have been using. I'm not even going to say people, because the devil uses people, because we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. So before you throw your neck at your brother or sister that may be a different color than you, that may be a different nationality than you, I want you to understand the devil has been playing this game since the beginning of time by making you question who you are. And the more you fight about who you are or who you think you are, the less you're going to get the things that you need to do and focus on things that you need to do. No, it's not okay for us to exclude because we have been excluded in business. Yes, it's okay for us to cater to a certain demographic. Yes, it's okay for us to open the door for others, to lift up others first, to give them another chance, to give them a way out. That is completely okay. But what's not okay is to say, hey, I'm not going to give this because of this and racism and fascism and all the isms. That makes no sense. Especially if you call yourself a child of God. Y'all, this is not the time to fall for the tricks. It's time for us to read our Bible. It's time for us to get real. And it's time for you to understand, like that young lady that I had to have the conversation with, your business is about making money. And when you walk in a room, you present who you are based on godly principle, not based on what people told you could be or could not be, not based on what the devil says you could be or could not be, and certainly not based on who you think you are based on your skin color. Opportunities may have not been afforded to you before. And in creating our own businesses, we are creating those opportunities for ourselves. And our skin color is not a barrier. Because I do believe the more we say something, the more we believe it, the more it comes to fruition. Because God says, in the life and death is in the power of the tongue, which I had a whole conversation about in another podcast. Your skin color is not a barrier. Do not come into agreement with that narrative. And do not let the devil use others that look like you and others that don't look like you physically in the skin color or nationality to tell you where you belong, where you don't belong, how you belong, and anything like that. And anybody who brings that up to you, you don't have to deal with them. You go and deal with their creator, which is God, and let God deal with them. He will give you the strategy to deal with them. So if this is your first time here, my name is Anne Jean-Pierre. I am the host of the Godly Business Podcast, and you have just watched me rant for the past 30 minutes. So welcome to the channel. I talk about everything godly business, how to handle a godly business, and I talk about things that you need to do to implement in your business. So if you have sat through all of this rant and have found it interesting, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with another person who may be dealing with certain issues around who they think they are, who they think they should be, and bring them about to read those verses and understand that it is a trick from the devil, that your identity in Christ is all that matters when it comes to anything, places of business, relationship. I don't care what it is, that your identity in Christ is the only thing that matters, okay? And that I want you to put in the comment below which identity are you going to start stripping off of you? What label are you going to start stripping off of you when it comes to moving forward and doing the things that you want to do in your life, in your business, okay? So that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today, was having the conversation around identity and how tricky the devil is in using our identity or his labels or different boxes to put us in to try to make us not move forward. So I hope you found this interesting. I hope you gleaned and heard my heart in this rant that I just had. And I hope you understand how very, very important it is to reframe how you see yourself and reframe the narrative that you will accept and the narrative that you will not accept, and what you will come into agreement with for yourself in your business. So the next time you're about to make that call and you hear that voice that tells you, who do you think you are? Do you really think? Are you really sure? I want you to remember that that voice is not yours, that voice is the devil. And I want you to go back to the Word of God and declare over yourself who you are, where you stand, in the gifts, power, authority that you have within you and declare that over yourself. And then get in that sales call, get on that presentation, get on that pitch call, and make your go and get what's yours. Okay, so that's it. As always, I will end this with, if you have questions, you can always send me a IM, DM, links, and all of those things. But we always remember that God has the best answer. To ask him, as he will guide you, teach you, and counsel you in the way that you should go. As always, love you guys, and I will see you in the next episode, which, by the way, will now be bi-monthly. So it'll be twice a month, as life is lifing, and I want to continue to show up for you guys in the best way that I can. So instead of weekly podcasts, it will be bi-monthly. So it'll be twice a month. All right. So awesome to talk to you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, this podcast, and have a blessed day. God bless you. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.